Superness, basically.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Nick. We'll get started in about. Okay, cool. We'll get started in about five. That's my computer. We'll get started in about 5 minutes. There's coffee and tea in the corner. Bathrooms over there. If you guys want to get some swag, we have t-shirts, mugs, stickers as well. We'll mingle for about 5 more minutes and then we'll get started. Good morning. We're going to get ready. Hi, Eric. Come on, sit on down, guys. Allie, get some coffee. You guys ready? I'm ready. All right. Good morning, everyone. How's my sound? Just checking. No, he is. I saw Austin already. Okay. If I'm too loud, let me know. I guess I get to be loud on the mic at times. So 1 million cups. There's a problem. And there's 3 problems we're looking at to address here. Entrepreneurs need feedback on their startup. Entrepreneurs need a place to practice presenting. And entrepreneurs need a place to meet other entrepreneurs. And we have a solution. It's called 1 million cups. We meet here every Wednesday, 9 a.m. on Green Spaces and on Zoom. Looks like we got a couple of people on Zoom today. Free coffee and tea. We also have swag as well. Here we do 2 6-minute presentations. Today we only have one from an entrepreneur. And then after their presentation, we give 15 to 20 minutes of constructive audience feedback. In terms of different use cases, we look for presenters that have an idea, a product, or a startup. Ideally, they're in their teenage stage. So they're not too new, they're not too old, and they're looking for and will receive feedback. This is a great place for presenters to get batting practice on their presentation skills. So the type of impact you get from 1 million cups is 1, entrepreneurs get to be open and transparent. Entrepreneurs get feedback to improve their startups, and entrepreneurs get to build meaningful connections. And because of all of this, what we're doing, we're getting some traction. People are showing up. We're getting presenters in our pipeline. It's working. And a shout out to our organization team, myself, Gregarious, Carter, Ali, Josh, Courtney, Joseph. Thank you for all you do. We're always looking for more people like you. If you want to join the team, we're always looking for people to help out with our pipeline and just spread the word about 1 million cups. And shout out to, let me go back. Sorry. That's the slide I wanted. Shout out to our sponsors, Green Spaces Co-working, where we're at right now. The Perk Coffee is what you're drinking as well. Good Elephant, In Crowd, Founders Craft, Colorado Lending Source, Pono Media, and the Commons on Champa. Let's give them all a big round of applause. Clap, clap, clap. Any of those sponsors want to do a shout out at all? Okay, I'll let you go, Joe.
Hey guys, thanks. So on the table are the little table tents for Join InCrowd. It's a digital business card platform. You can scan it, create a free digital card. Today it takes less than like a minute to do. So yeah, join InCrowd.
Thank you. And a shout out for Green Spaces. After the meeting, if you want to stay for the day for free, you can. Just check in with Holden. You can just co-work for the whole day, free coffee and tea. We also have yoga today as well. Starting next week. Oh, I brought my yoga mat and yeah, shoot. Darn it. So maybe I'll just do it by myself. Anyway, cool. So who here is new to 1 million cups today? I got 2 people. Awesome. And show of hands, who considers themselves an entrepreneur? All right, more than half. Awesome. So I'm going to do some quick introductions, looking for some volunteers. Name, what you do, why you're here. Anybody want to volunteer? If not, I'm just going to pick on people. Anybody want to say hi? Going once. All right, I'm going to just pick on. You're presenting. Okay. Do you want to say hi for us? Cool. Thanks.
Hi.
Get it nice and close to your mouth.
Okay. Hi, my name is Avital. If it helps you remember my name, Siri thinks my name is Albital. So there's still hope for me. And I'm here because I love checking out different entrepreneurial networking groups. And I would like to present for the group as well. I call myself a healing breakthrough facilitator. I don't know how much I can keep talking. So what I do is I basically help people connect the dots towards the results that they see and they know they deserve, and they're not quite getting there. That happened for me with healing from an autoimmune disorder beyond what was expected. But I took the research from all different types of health and healing experts who were healing from terminal diagnoses to really figure out what's the pathway towards success that can be related to other areas of life as well.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else want to introduce themselves? All right, go ahead.
My name is Ben, Ben Money. I just moved to the area this week. I was actually going to 1 Million Cups in St. Petersburg back in 2014 and 15.
Nice.
And the last 4 years, I was working in college athletics as a coach, and now I'm here looking for a job.
Cool. What type of job? Okay. Anything to?
I got a degree in entrepreneurship, which is why I was doing this.
Okay.
And college athletics, got a lot of operations experience, so, and people management.
Cool. Well, thanks, Ben. Any other introductions? Rio, you want to say hi? Cool.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Rion. I'm a founder. I'm working on fixing the hiring nightmare for job seekers and companies by building a skill-based platform that essentially connects candidates and companies on the basis of skill set. So rather than candidates sending out their application, they actually get interview requests from companies. And instead of companies getting 300 unqualified candidates for every job post, they get 20 to 30 qualified candidates. So that's a big thing I'm working on. And like Ben, right? I went to 1 Million Cups back when I lived in Kansas City for a long time. And I'm glad to see that so many more people are coming out. Good job, Nick.
Good job to the team. It's not just me. The team effort. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate those introductions. And now we're going to move on to the product, which is 1 Million Cups. We have a website, 1millioncups.com/Denver. This is where you can see who's presenting each week. This is also where you can apply to present as well. And if anybody's interested in 1 Million Cups and all our information, it's all on our website. Just before we get into our first presentation, I want everybody to know that they're here for your feedback. So while they're presenting, think of a question you can ask or some type of feedback you can give them, because the more dialogue we have, the better this whole event is. And if you have a lot to share, a lot of feedback, kind of limit your feedback or question one at a time, and then we'll come back to you again to give you a chance to give more feedback as well. All right, enough of me, more about the presenter. So we have Gritly is a career accelerator focused on launching underserved communities into entry-level revenue generated roles, starting with tech sales. Let's give a big round of applause to David.
Thank you, sir. So, right? I think, all right. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is David Lopez, co-founder and CEO of Gritly. Super excited to tell you all a little bit more about our company. So, women, minorities, and veterans are not being invested of equally, and when they are, they're not given access to the right or the correct workforce opportunities that other individuals from more traditional backgrounds are given. And when they are given those and they are invested in and they're breaking into great industries like tech, they're not seeing anyone that looks like them. And so a combined 13.3% of the tech workforce is made up of Black and Latinx individuals. And if that's not a problem, I really don't know what is. Gritly is a career accelerator focused on launching diverse communities into entry-level roles, and our first career focus is tech sales. This is what our online student dashboard looks like, soon to be launched for our third and fourth cohort coming up here soon, where students will access the 12-week program, which is 100% remote. The program is also part-time because we believe in meeting our students where they're at. So a lot of our students are coming from backgrounds where they are, working in school, both, or have just family responsibilities in which they just can't commit to the typical university or alternative career schedules. And so giving the students the ability to have flexible schedules is one of our value propositions for them. We give them all of the skills that they need, such as prospecting, contacting, cold calling, navigating CRM such as Salesforce and HubSpot, as well as interview prep and resume review to ensure that these students will turn into successful entry-level SDRs or BDRs at high-growth tech companies. For companies, we love to work with forward-thinking companies that are actually invested beyond just paying a recruitment fee or having a recruiter on retainer because it's about their future workforce. And so we actually give companies the opportunity to interact and engage with our students as early as week 2. So that way they can not only engage with our community, but also track the students and build those relationships with their ideal future employees. So that way the students are actually getting to know the companies. They're actually identifying, what products they actually want to sell. And then companies are also making that connection. And so rather than just introducing somebody when the first time when they're applying or through their first interview, building those relationships over time has actually led to decreased churn and increased employee satisfaction. So here's our business model. For high growth companies, we charge $2,000 annual subscription fee, followed by 15% of the first year base salary. Um, Coming up in our third and fourth cohorts, we will be introducing deferred tuition agreements. We initially were thinking about income share agreements, but we were built on transparency, and we believe that our incentives should be directly tied to our students. So the deferred tuition agreements will be the students have to make at least $40,000 a year in order for us to begin taking any money from them, and at which point we'll charge them $133 a month for 18 months, only if they're making over 40,000. So if anything ever happens, we stop taking their money. There's no interest, and we're not coming after them because that's not our goal. Our goal is to give our students the economic mobility that they deserve. These are the companies that we're currently working with here in Colorado. Scoopus is a Silicon Valley-based company with their sales office here in Denver. And Sonderbein is a company that recently just hit unicorn status that we have some alumni at. So really again is just working with forward-thinking companies that are actively invested in thinking about the diversity of their future workforce. And like I said, it takes more than money. It takes the time and investment from their team, and these companies have all been able to give that to us. So when it comes to our go to market, I as a founder dropped the ball from cohort 1 to cohort 2. I learned that our students aren't necessarily on LinkedIn. Our students aren't necessarily already active in all of these different communities, but yet they are active job seekers. They are tapping into government programs and nonprofits that support marginalized communities. And so now we've shifted, and now that's our focus is partnering up with workforce development centers, nonprofits, and even we're running a pilot program in this next cohort with the Community College of Aurora. And then we've also been approached by some partners in California who are really willing to take us to the next level, and that means providing our students with mentors that they need, giving them the access to the space, such as computers and Wi-Fi for those underprivileged students, as well as actually getting the students from the backgrounds where they are marginalized, but they're actually coming in with a little bit of tech experience too. So we're super excited to expand in Los Angeles here in August 30th when our next cohort starts, and our next Colorado cohort will start September 6th. And so we've had 5 students in our first cohort, 5 students in the second cohort, and we're looking to get closer to 25 to 40 in our third and fourth. So we're excited about the growing pains to come, but our team is actively growing. The market for this space is huge, and it's only growing. 84.5 million is what our projected 5-year revenue is as we continue to scale market by market, because again, it's all about meeting our students where they're at. We do have competition, but really our focus is on diversity and inclusion. And when I say the inclusion, that means meeting our students where they're at. And I'll talk about our scheduling. If our students are going to school and working full time, they only have certain pockets in which they're available to meet with us. And that's the same for a lot of the students that we're working with. And so we give them the schedule that they deserve rather than saying, hey, if you can't come to our classes on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 to 8 p.m., which I know for a fact, I was growing up with a single mom. She couldn't ever make that schedule because she had to pick me up from my after school program, and I was either in sports or my sibling was, and so that just never worked for her. But I know that she had Thursdays off, and the morning was her free time, and so we wanted to build a schedule where we could offer those Thursday morning classes if they absolutely needed it, because we believe investing in our students no matter their background. So here's our roadmap. Looking forward to continuing to growth. Like I said, we're expanding to Los Angeles. After this will be Texas, most likely Houston, because it's important that we get Houston-based students hired by companies that have offices in Houston, just as the same in Denver, just as the same in Los Angeles. So tech sales is just our beachhead. This is where my co-founder and I have our background. but we've already been having inbound interest from industries like healthcare and energy and even oil and gas, asking them for our representatives. And while we would love to take on those opportunities, we don't quite have tech sales figured out, but when we do, we know exactly where we're going to expand. And then also our current existing customers are asking us about offering beyond SDR and BDR roles is customer success, marketing, and recruitment. And so with those company partners, we actually be developing that curriculum after we continue to expand. And so really what Gritly will become is the #1 pipeline for diverse qualified talent for entry-level revenue generation roles. Here is our team. It's myself and Avi. We're the co-founders. Lisa is actually our new hire. I'm training her this week, but she's coming in with a background in training and development as well as being an SDR manager, and she will be coming on to lead the cohorts going forward. We are thankful to be scaling, and I'm excited to take on the role as CEO and no longer teaching the cohort. And Lisa is the perfect candidate to come in and lead the students to where they need to be. And Doug has a great background in operations, and it has been a great number 2 for me on the business side. These are some of our advisors and investors currently at the moment. We are raising a seed round, and very grateful to have this team of supporters on our side. So my ask is for feedback, of course. We just got this deck yesterday, so I'm super happy about the design. The pitch needs some work. I'm ready for the feedback, but also investors for our seed and angel, and then also potential customers. If any of you are connected to high growth companies that are looking to scale their sales organizations, we just wrapped up our second cohort last week. We're just beginning our next cohort, like I said, at the end of the month. And so we're super excited to engage and start those conversations with prospective customers. Thank you all so much.
Round of applause for David. Great job. You seem very natural up there, like you've done this before. Okay. Where are you going? I need you up here. Okay. I'll have this recorded too, the video. All right. Allie?
I'll just start with some positive feedback. I love your attitude and your ability to acknowledge the places where you don't know what you don't know yet. Um, and I really admire your dedication to focusing on the tech sales before you expand. 'Cause I think that's where you'll be able to really make it awesome and then grow. So great job. This is awesome.
Hey, I'm Eric. Great to meet you. Great presentation. I'm actually a seed investor, so we can chat more after this. I was curious about how you develop your curriculum and kind of what inputs you take to create the curriculum for that program. If you just speak to it at high level.
I'm not sure if everybody knows what SDR stands for. Just feedback would be to not use that acronym, just for people that have never been in the industry might get confused. All right. You have something to say?
So thanks so much for your presentation. I think that sales is an industry that a lot of people avoid getting into, but there's a lot of opportunity there. And then to become like an account exec one day can be really, really great for someone's career. So I think it's a good angle to go at. I'm curious how you market to students and then how you select which students are part of your program.
First of all, thank you so much for sharing that and having the courage to get up there. But that was a really like well put together presentation. It's a great mission, so I'm really really glad to see that. And I can just give a couple bits of feedback, like from my perspective, if you want. One thing that I find that helps because I'm a speaker, so I also see this, is pick at least one person's storyline to carry through of like here's the challenge, like here's the percentage, right, of what normally happens with people in these categories, and here's what we did for this person and their family, never had this, and then look at where they are now. That appeals to people's heart because that often like gets do all the other stuff that you're doing, but make sure you continue to appeal to the heart, because that's a big thing for your pitch. And I'll just say this if it helps you, but I would have never known that women have make less money or have less opportunity. Um, I was fortunate to have like financial support from my parents for college, but everything else was me in terms of positioning myself. It was getting good grades, getting the internships, studying how to interview. And I was a major in mechanical engineering, and I was the only person from my class, right? It's 30% female in engineering. So it's still less females, but I beat out all the men, I beat out all the computer people, and got a job as a program manager at Microsoft straight out of college. On top of that, I probably got offered like 20,000 more than the other starting people because I knew how to position myself. And I feel like everyone has that opportunity because I did. And so just putting that out there, even if that's another story in your head to say, like, what are you doing to support people? I'm helping train them for the workforce, but also positioning them so that they can get the same opportunities as everyone else.
All right. Awesome feedback. All right, Joe.
So I didn't know what the cohort part was, and I didn't know if you were teaching tech or what. So defining that a little bit more. At the beginning, you talked about women, but then kind of following on the same, that didn't follow through, right? There wasn't like, so are you only training women for sales tech roles? I didn't get that, you know. So if you're going to focus, it threw me off at the beginning. Um, the Throughout the pitch, I didn't know really kind of how the connection was. I didn't know how you recruited, how who you were recruiting. Are you recruiting just women? Are you the cohort part? I thought when I hear cohort, I think tech, like coding. I don't know. It's just me. Maybe that's how I associate it. So it just I lost the training aspect of it. This seems more like you guys do kind of a little school to teach people and train people on how to do tech sales. Um, so I didn't know how you recruited them, I didn't know how you trained them, and I didn't know how you placed them, and then how you were teaming up with the companies to place them. Um, yeah, those were kind of the things that I caught. So I don't know how you can use that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to echo some of the really positive sentiments. I think what you're doing is really great. Two things that stood out to me are in the earlier slide where you say, this is the percent of people who are represented. I think it'd be really good to like compare that to the U.S. population just to like hammer it home, because that's one thing I was like, okay, well, how are those people? Like, what is the actual percentage? And I don't know what that is. And then the other part is I would encourage you to define what sales is and like what that, because I've been in tech sales and it's like there's a huge spectrum versus like pushing a product or like strictly business development, which has no sales element. So yeah, those are my two pieces of feedback. And also, let's connect afterwards. I have an idea for you.
Great presentation, David. Echoing all the positive feedback, you definitely know what you're talking about. I have a question to the audience. Did we catch the part, because I don't know how clear it was. I know this as a prior fact, but did we catch the part about how they did 100% placement in their first two cohorts? I don't know how super clear that was. And that's super, super important because like that's one of the things that's really stuck with me about Gritly. Because it's one thing to be like, you know, we're going to do this for sales roles. It's another thing to be like, our first two cohorts got 100% placement within. Okay, gotcha. So, you know, that one did within like a very reasonable time frame too. And so like to mention the time frame, like it was your first cohort, you figured it out, you placed people within a super great time frame. And then to also echo the other part about, you know, specific stories, that story about the girl that came in that was a bartender and ended up tripling her income. So, you know, there's a story about the one of the girls in the first cohort was a bartender. She went through the program. At the end, she got a job that tripled her income. You know, that's huge, right? And so I would personally, I would definitely include and make those two pieces highlights. Because from what I've heard, like I'm not an investor, but like in these first rounds, it's about storytelling. So like those are huge pieces of storytelling for me.
I have a question related to storytelling. What's the story behind the idea? Awesome. But then you wouldn't be here right now presenting. So great job. Sure.
Yeah, just to echo a couple of previous points, I think it was just a pretty quick presentation in general. You know, you could have spent more time on results. I think you also could have spent more time on process. I would have liked to hear more about the actual training, onboarding process, those touch points, because that makes me also think, you know, when you're thinking about growth, it seems like you're looking at it geographically. And I wonder how you balance that with growing in terms of like course offerings and if that would increase demand. Um, and participation with the product. You know, and obviously it's a mix with also with industry demand for employees. But you know, if most of your touch points are virtual, then just interested in how you balance those you know directions.
All right. Awesome feedback. Courtney?
I would echo everybody. It was an amazing presentation. I know you said you just got the deck yesterday. So I would anticipate that the feedback you wanted today is it a good deck? I really liked the slide you had about the grid where it had you with all the check marks and your competition without. I think that that was a really good explanation on the depth of research that you've done to understand why you're valuable in the market. So if your goal was to get feedback on the deck, I think it's a great deck. I think a lot of the information just can't come across in 6 minutes. So if you needed to give a smaller presentation, I'd cut out a lot of it and pick one thing to kind of like drill down on. You are incredibly skilled at talking incredibly fast. So and you didn't, because you didn't have the story, I don't think anyone bought in at the beginning, like why we should listen to this, because you actually did say like 12-week courses. To Joe's point, you did talk about the minorities and like the different people that you serve, not just females. but because you were talking so incredibly fast, I don't know that people understood why we should listen until you were about halfway through. So putting who you serve and how you serve them up front is really valuable, but only if you slow it way down. And then I would reiterate that again, because once we've understood exactly what it looks like, maybe if you even just said that whole first slide at the end, we'd have a little bit of a bookend situation. As someone who has been accused of talking very fast, I understand, I hear where you're coming from, and it is hard to slow down. So if you know yourself, you know you won't be able to slow down no matter what. Then you might as well reiterate things throughout. So just giving people a framework to put all of the fast words and all the incredible information that was delivered very elegantly. I love the design, everything about that, awesome. And I think that it was such a robust design helped us to understand. So just general feedback, not really a question in there. The only thing I would edit otherwise is just there's a lot of text on some of these slides. So I would imagine if you were in a Zoom room with, 5 potential investors and it was taking an hour to do this tech, that could be really valuable. But in a group like this, in 6 minutes and like lightning, you just need bigger words, less information.
With the feedback on the slides, good design is very wordy at times. So think about each slide having one message. If you have multiple messages, maybe break that up. Like for me as a viewer, I'm listening to you, and if your words should be speaking about the slides, not the slide should be saying everything. Just something to think about. All right, time, Jody.
Hey David, I love the concept of it. I think, with the whole female and just being Asian and being raised in that family, I think it's great. I don't know if you've thought of great if maybe you can like plant the seed with kids that are in high school right now. So I'm from South Florida, so it's a huge melting pot, and we didn't really know much about the tech world until, like you said, college, later on in college, and we're like, oh dang, maybe we should have went into that. And I'm kind of curious about, your numbers in the beginning. Is that more because people like us aren't getting a degree in tech? Is it because we're not educated about it, way beforehand? We're going down the path like become a doctor or a lawyer. So I would like to see that more in your presentation as you go on. Like, is there something that can help me um, in my community being Vietnamese? Is there someone that can help translate? Is there a club that we can join and kind of like help each other? And I think that's really important too, because later on, I think word of mouth will help you a lot. And those are the students that I think you will retain more, are the people that trust the program and trust their friends and family. So maybe that would be nice. I would like to hear more about that and how that can help, our community too.
So this is more towards the business model. So we mentioned kind of scaling and going into other cities, but you had 5 people in your last cohort. I don't know. I think did you say 5 on this one too? So you have a recruitment issue. So I would settle that here and learn that business model. And when you've got like an abundance of recruits and that cohort is full, then I might look at scaling. Just slow down a little bit. I know you want to save the world, but like save here first. Second, I think we're a lot confused on that tech word, right? So you're training salespeople, not coders and tech people. So learning, communicating who you're targeting and what you're teaching would be good for even on the sales effort. Because right now, I think a lot of us are thinking like you're teaching kids tech, and you're not. You're teaching them how to do sales in tech. Am I correct? Yeah. So when you go to a high school and you present there, telling them tech, you're not teaching the next Mark Zuckerberg. You're teaching the sales reps at Facebook. Um, and so that would be really clear. So defining your target audience, and then also when you go sell this, you represent yourself better by saying we're training tech sales, not coders. So just some of those buzzwords that are synonymous with the industry, and that way has a clearer throughput, more effective on recruiting, and more effective on placement.
All right, David. I have one question for you. What is the? Nope, that's not it. Oh no, not good. Anyway, what as a community can we do for you? All right, round of applause for David. Great job. So before we go into community announcements, we're going to have a quick presentation from Courtney. She's going to be talking about powerful value propositions.
You nailed it. So we have decided just to offer these as an org team. All of us have various expertise in the startup community, and so just little 3 to 5 minute snippets to hopefully get the gears turning and help everybody. I know a lot of what we do at 1 Million Cups is to help the presenter and to help them, but I think that there's a lot of value in giving back to you all. So value propositions is something I'm going to talk fast. So if you have questions afterwards, you can always find me. Value propositions is something everyone should know that a startup needs. Every business needs ones. People need to understand why they're interacting with you. So for today, I just want to take it in 3 pieces with these 3 words. The first word, powerful. Understand that what you're doing is powerful. We have laws that govern us that say that energy can't be created or destroyed. So if it can't be created or destroyed and you are creating something, you are taking energy from your life experiences, from your connections, from everything you've done, putting it into a vessel and then giving it to someone else. And you are delivering that, and that has power and it has energy. So I see a lot of early stage startups and founders just trying to give it away, or they diminish their value. But I want to encourage you to just understand that you are powerful, and therefore your connections and the way you interact in the world is just moving power from one place to another. So before you start in on what words and slogans and titles and names, understand that you're actually transmitting power. So if you try to make it tiny and, oh, we're just a tiny startup, it won't have the impact. So really assert yourself, stand fully in that energy, and understand that what you're doing could change someone's life. And when you really believe that, then you'll be able to come up with all of the supporting information, the marketing materials, and all that it takes to come up with everything you will need to run a successful startup. So at the basis, understand that what you're doing is powerful because you are powerful. Number 2, value. Value is one of the most celebrated and misunderstood pieces in our culture today because value is so subjective. There is just no way to look at it differently. You think of what is valuable to a person. Well, a person experiencing homelessness, a person who has millions in the bank, a person who, likes to live on boats. Everything to every single person will be slightly different, not only from their current life situation, but also from what's happened before that. So if you go way back in time, you never know their genealogical story, everything that's brought them to this point today. So don't try to please everyone because you just can't. And respect the fact that what's valuable to you probably isn't valuable to someone else, but it can be valuable to your target market. So getting comfortable with understanding value is something I recommend having a lot of conversations around. So when you're doing your market research, it's not just, do you think this is nifty, or is it cool, or would you buy it? It's, is this valuable to you and why? Because value is something that if we really try, we can put words to, and those words will come through in your marketing and make a really big difference. The last is going to be a little bit risque because it's the concept of proposition. So when I think of proposition, for some reason, probably Hollywood, I just think of prostitutes. Not that I have ever engaged one, but I do understand them from my vast amount of movie watching. And what I can tell you about this, and I've worked with several clients just about propositions, they're not in your face, right? People do things for one of 2 reasons, and that's it. So when it goes to value and when people actually see the value and take action, it's one of two reasons. It is to achieve pleasure or to avoid pain. The more successful prostitutes in the world understand that when people are trying to avoid pain, it's typically going to be a bigger driver. There will be a bigger dollar amount to it. So the prostitutes that understand that they are being hired because someone doesn't want to be with their spouse, not because they want a night full of pleasure, will be much more successful. And the same applies to your business. Understand the pain that you are alleviating and get real comfy in that space. Because if you can alleviate pain for people, then they will be more likely to seek out pleasure. And you can't. You can make people happy all day, but if I were just, let's say, clean water and I went to offer it to someone, I wouldn't say, ooh, it's shiny and you can see through it. That doesn't matter. Oh, it's really clean and it's sparkly and it feels fresh. And people are like, yeah, so does gum. It doesn't work. But if I say, I guarantee that if you drink this water, you will be healthier, you won't die an early death, your children will be healthier, you won't be sick as much, like those kinds of things, people will listen. So no matter what you're doing, remember this concept of alleviating pain. And the last note with a proposition is that it shouldn't give all the information up front. So bad value propositions are like, we make software that is 256-bit encrypted and blah, 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 blah. Nope, nobody wants to know that. If you think of a talented prostitute, and everyone's seen one at least in a movie, I'm just going to assume that, they do not walk up to you and take off all their clothes and say, let's do this. No, it's usually something akin to a leg. And they just stick out their leg ever so slightly, or they don't even do that. They just stand on the corner. And whether they say it or not, the sentence is, I have something you want. So when you are thinking of your value proposition, think of that phrase and think of how it will hit your target market, because that's the vibe you want. You want, I have something you want. Not, oh my God, I'm right here. You want this. Come on, let's do it. No, none of that. Very subtle, very specific, very targeted to alleviate pain, to exchange a significant amount of power, and to do it in a way that's subtle but speaks to the person in a really powerful way.
Awesome job, Courtney. Round of applause. Courtney, am I showing too much leg? We have time for any feedback or questions for Courtney. Anybody want to say anything? We're good? Awesome. That was a great job. I really relate to the whole pain points. We talk a lot about that in my company, so it makes a lot of sense. Community announcements. Anybody have an event they're going to or hosting they want to share about? What's going on? Cool.
God, I have like 20 million. So I know, well, actually, I'll explain the concept because I think during the pandemic and when you're apart from people, and I'm new to Denver too, so I'm still developing community. And I really just had to ask the question, like, what do I want from community? And I do all these programs that help uplift people. But I also want community surrounding that. And so I started a program. It's called Dewdrop Community, but it's Denver Conscious Fun Communities. You can find it on Facebook. And it's a space where you can connect with people like entrepreneurs, because how wonderful is it to be around people who are also uplifting themselves and have the motivation like you do, but also have that support and that connection. And so we just have events where we're like, they're fun things to do, but we get to stay in our conscious state of mind while doing them. And then what's also unique about this is that I've added a communications program so that we can connect on a deeper level with each other, which is called How to Love and Be Loved. And so that happens every month. And if you want to know more, I would love to talk to you and invite you all into the group. But so we have so if you go on Facebook, you can look up Denver Conscious Fun Community. Or me, Avital Miller. Avital is spelled like a vital. And we have events almost every week. So like next week, we're going to the Botanic Gardens for the music, because they have performers as you walk through. And we have a couple camping trips coming up, but we do like game nights or other crazy things that we come up with. So I create the events based on what people coming in say they want to do.
Sure.
This is not an event, but if anyone's startup has to do with the outdoor space, let me know. I'm in this Facebook group called Outdoor Entrepreneurs, which is really helpful. Basically, like, I mean, I've connected with some really awesome people. So come find me afterwards and I can tell you more.
Anything else? Okay, back here.
Hey guys, there's a lot of you I haven't met, but I'm Rachel. I'm the founder of Simple Switch. We're an online marketplace for ethical and impactful shopping. I've actually presented to this community before, but it was pre-COVID, so I think a lot of you probably don't know me. But we are having our 3rd anniversary party as a company on Sunday. Really excited to hit that milestone. It's actually going to be here in this exact place where you're sitting, so just come on back. It is going to be a fully vaccinated event, so we are also offering it online if that's an issue. I think Nick's going to be there, so you can come hang out with him from what I see on my registration form. If you want, we have one of our sponsors is Good Elephant, and they're also doing the registration. So I can give you that link if you're interested in coming. Just come find me.
Goodelephant.com or .co. You can. Yeah. I'll also post most of this on our LinkedIn group as well. Can you repeat that name? Which name? Simple Switch, if that's your question, Thomas. Sunday's event, yeah. Simple Switch. If you go to goodelephant.co, the event's listed there. And you can okay. Yeah, I'll do that as well. Okay. Any other announcements? Going once, twice. Next week, our photographer, Brandon from Pono Media, is going to be here doing free headshots. So if you want to upgrade your LinkedIn profile photo, this is a great opportunity to do that. So we'll be here again next week, August 18th, here in Green Spaces and via Zoom. And what you guys have all been waiting for is, nope, not that. Word of mouth marketing. So please, I was getting ready for the pun. That's the next slide. Just if you guys can, please spread the word about 1 Million Cups. Word of mouth is the best way for us to recruit. Let them know about our website, 1millioncups.com/Denver. That's where you can apply to present, and also all our information as well. And we're on all of the social medias too. Now, oh yeah, sorry, I'm getting really excited about the pun. Just want to remind everybody, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate you guys being here. I love seeing all new faces and recurring faces as well. Great. So why was Dumbo so sad? He felt irrelevant. Irrelevant. Fun fact, elephants are my favorite animal. So me, my spirit animal. Awesome. Great. Well, thanks guys for coming out. Please grab some swag. If you do take it, just show it off. That's all we ask. Hang out if you want to stay for Green Spaces for the day. Just check in with Holden up in front. But we'll hang out here for the next half an hour or so. I'll make some more coffee and get connected too. All right. Thanks, guys. Round of applause for everybody.